Hey everybody, welcome back to In Bed with a Millennial. I'm the Millennial, Javeda Bay, and this is my bed, and it's April. Hello, April. And we're on to a whole new topic this month. And if you didn't know, April is STI Awareness Month, so I'm pretty sure you can guess what we're talking about. STIs, of course, but I don't mean like a deep dive into like all the individual STIs. I've previously done that. If you want to go see those videos, scroll back. But I want to talk about some things that relate to STIs and how we talk about them, understanding testing, all of that jazz. We're going to get into it because we all need to be more informed. So let's do it. Today, I really want to talk about STI language and like the basics when it comes to talking about STIs for a wide variety of reasons, but mainly because there's some very like different language out there. And some of that language helps to uphold like the stigma around STIs, and other language is more just like matter of the fact, like, yeah, STIs exist. Okay, we're moving forward. We're not going to shame people for ever having had an STI. So we're going to get into the nitpicky, fine, nitty gritty area of that because I really want us to stop using stigmatized, shameful language when we're talking about STIs. They're common. We know this now. Why are we still acting like it's like, oh my God? It's not. You might be wondering, Jay, I don't even know what kind of language you could be talking about. Like, people just talk about STIs. They're like, yeah, STIs. Yes, some people are just like, yeah, STIs. And other people use some language that is just like so deeply rooted with stigma and shame. Prime example, folks that are like, oh yeah, I'm clean. Clean is the most stigmatized, shamey way you can talk about STIs, and we really need to stop doing it because having an STI does not make you dirty. Not bathing makes you dirty, okay? But having an STI does not. So the language around like, oh, I'm clean, and using that to let people know like, yeah, we can have sex is really not okay. Proper language would be like, oh yeah, I recently got STI tested and everything came back negative, or like, whatever it is. But clean is not the language. It really perpetuates the shame and stigma around it. It makes it so that people are less likely to want to talk about STIs because there's this notion of like dirty and clean. Having an STI doesn't make you dirty. Not wiping your ass does, okay? Another common area of like language when it comes to STIs is the folks that love to differentiate between cold sores and herpes. And you might be like, Javay, why does this matter? Well, again, because the language use plays into this perpetuation of stigma and shame. And so when folks are out here being like, oh, I don't have herpes, I just have cold sores. It like tries to separate themselves from herpes as if one, almost everybody and their mama ain't got it. But two, this notion that cold sores aren't herpes. Cold sores are herpes. They're all herpes. They're herpes that are just around your mouth and on your face. They are herpes. And so when everyone tries to perpetuate like the, oh, it's just cold sores, it really makes this negative notion around herpes, which come on, we're better than this, y'all. We've been talking about this for how long? Why are we still doing this? Cold sores are herpes. And really, all you're doing when you use that language is making big pharma richer, because the only people that really benefit from using language of like cold sores are pharmaceutical companies that peddle out this medicine. It's like, oh yeah, get rid of your cold sores when we know that you can't. Herpes is a lifelong, once it is transmitted into your body, it is always going to be there. So you're really just helping big pharma make more money, and that's not helping none of us. Hello, we are trying to end this capitalistic hellhole we live in. So let's do better. Let's stop acting like cold sores aren't herpes. They are herpes. And that's that. Another aspect when it comes to language around STIs is when you're actually in the doctor's office. So you probably think that if you go into the doctor's office and you're like, yeah, can I get tested for STIs? That is a good enough statement. You're good to go, moving on. Not always. Not every doctor is really doing a full STI panel when they say they're doing an STI panel. They are probably just looking at like chlamydia and gonorrhea, maybe syphilis. You have to be very explicit and clear when you are in the doctor's office to make sure you are getting all the testing that you want and need, and not just like leaving it at your doctor's discretion, because hello, we're hip to the medical profession and industry now, right? Not every doctor has our best interest in mind, and medical racism and bias amongst doctors is real. So they might be testing you for everything. So you got to do your due diligence. You got to speak the right language. So list out everyone you want to be tested for. Don't just say, yeah, I want an STI panel, because you don't know if that panel is going to be everything or just like two things. And another STI language piece to be aware of, because I think it's becoming more popular to talk about, is like triple site swab testing. And so this is really a part of like queer affirming and queer positive like healthcare, in the sense that when you go in for STI testing and they do swabbing, they are actually swabbing 3 different areas. So it's going to be your throat, your anus, and the vulva typically. And that is because STIs can be transmitted to all those different areas, and one test is not going to be able to discern for all of them. So just know, if someone's ever like, oh, well, did you want like triple site testing? Yes, you do. You want all of it swabbed, baby boo. So be mindful of that language. But all this month, I'm gonna be talking about all things STIs, how they relate to how we engage with others, how we think about ourselves, like everything you could think of under the sun. I'm covering it. But I really wanted to start with the basics and the language, because I really want us to stop using stigmatized, shameful language, because we're better than that. We really are. Also, it's April. This month is all about STI awareness. So I'm gonna get you aware to how the language you use impacts things. And that even applies to the language you use around STIs. So if you're like, yo, Chave, I wasn't even aware. Thank you. I want more. You better subscribe to this YouTube channel, because that's where you're going to get more. And also make sure you're following me on all my social media platforms, because again, that's where you're going to get more. And all of them. I do mean all of them, because I post different stuff on all of the platforms. And you don't want to miss that. Definitely make sure you subscribe to my podcast. I know I keep plugging it. Eventually, y'all, there will be episodes, and you're going to want to be subscribed for when those new episodes drop. And lastly, make sure you're signed up for my email newsletter, because that's where the good stuff is. And if you don't want to miss the good stuff, get on it. But yeah, make sure you send this to a friend who you hear using language. It's like, oh, well, they were dirty, so I didn't hook up with them. Send them this video and be like, yo, Jave said, don't say it that way. Because they're not dirty. They just have an STI. Shrugs aggressively, like, what's the deal? But yeah, make sure you come back next week and all this month, because it's gonna be a good time, because we're normalizing the fact that STIs are so freaking common, and the stigma and shame is so played out, like played out. But yeah, until next time, I'm gonna see you later. Deuces.